Friends, thank you for joining Candid Meena every evening to follow what's happening in India and abroad. And thank you for sending me your useful comments and suggestions. If you believe in this channel, do hit the like button, share it with your friends, and spread the message. Our only mission is to bring you the truth and both sides of the story. Thank you for your support. Today we have Deepti Pinnati back with us for another session of the SSR Diary readings. Welcome, Deepti.
Hello, Minaji.
Welcome. Always happy to see you.
Yeah, but yes, I do understand that the viewers and everyone is beginning to feel dejected with how the what's happening regarding the justice in our country. I cannot talk about other countries, but yes, we are very disappointed. We are very, very disappointed with the agencies, with the judiciary, and with the authorities as well. I don't know. The only way that I see how we can get justice, at least for Sushant. Okay. See, Minaji, for Jia Khan, Rabia ji has been fighting alone. For Sridevi ji, I am fighting alone. But for Sushant, there's this entire, people have come together, not only from India, but from across the world as well. So, and let me tell you one thing here is that though the Nexus and the Cabal are very powerful, they have their hold on the judiciary, on all the four pillars of the democracy and all, but we are majority in number. The ordinary citizens who want equality of law for everyone and who want justice for Sushant, they are together. Though there have been many attempts to break the unity by creating camps and gangs within the SSR warriors, still, I don't know what to call it. Either it's the magic of Sushant's powerful soul or whatever it is, but people are still together even after 1 year. Every day on Twitter, it's trending. Justice for Sushant under various names. So it's still trending. So the momentum has not lost its steam. So it's up to us now whether we feel dejected and quit.
Yeah.
Or
and our letters are also going, Deepti, to both the Prime Minister as well as the Supreme Court Justice, Ramana.
I hope, because you also had written a letter much earlier, and Rabia ji had also written a letter to Prime Minister. I have also written letters to President regarding Sridevi ji's case. So they have been unheard so far. So I believe that maybe we need to voice out more louder.
Yeah.
And protest more strongly, so strongly that they cannot ignore. But then it's up to us if we choose to, get dejected and leave it this time as well, or if we choose to hold on to it and voice out so loudly that no more can our voices be ignored.
Yeah. Okay. So Deepti, I'll just speak a little bit about what happened today and then move on to the reading. That's
Sure.
okay with you?
Sure, Manish.
Yeah. Okay.
I also look forward to your tidbits actually.
Yeah, because of today, what happened? Yes. So viewers, did they just try to assassinate our Prime Minister? Is the question. Today's news created anger in our nation as the security of the Prime Minister was breached in Punjab. PM Modi's convoy was stuck at a flyover near Firozpur for 15 to 20 minutes on Wednesday afternoon, posing an immense threat to the head of state. Reports suggest that the procession was blocked by protesters around 30 kilometers away from National Martyrs Memorial in Hussainiwala. In a massive development in Punjab today, PM Modi was forced to postpone his Firozpur rally as the security was compromised after arriving in the state. The problem started when the PM decided to travel to the National Martyrs Memorial at Hussainiwala by road instead of the air route due to poor weather. This was his first visit to Punjab after the repeal of the farm laws, and he was set to flag off the campaign for the BJP Punjab Lok Congress SAD, which is the Sanyukt Alliance. Government sources have told media that it was only the Punjab police who knew the precise route of Prime Minister's convoy. Given that protesters landed up at the highway, the incident appears to be in connivance between the police and those responsible for blocking his convoy. Sources have alleged, calling the incident the single biggest lapse of security of any Indian Prime Minister in recent years. The Ministry of Home Affairs has also released a statement on the incident. The Prime Minister's schedule and travel plan were communicated well in advance to Punjab government. As per procedure, they have to make necessary arrangements for logistics, security, as well as keep a contingency plan ready. Also, in view of the contingency plan, Punjab government has to deploy additional security to secure any movement by road, which were clearly not deployed. Union Home Minister Amit Shah lashed out at the Congress party for allowing Prime Minister Modi's security to be breached in Punjab, calling the lapse totally unacceptable. Issuing a statement on Twitter, he asserted that the accountability will be fixed on the incident and demanded an apology from the topmost echelons of Congress. The trend of Congress party was, on Twitter was, Modi go back. And then the security from PMO was breached. We cannot forgive the Congress party in this dastardly deed. And the CM speaking about some of his colleagues having COVID and thus avoiding meeting the Prime Minister is actually trivializing such a dastardly act. Who were these protesters? Were they Congressies? How the hell did they have the courage to challenge our Prime Minister and to leave the situation open for terrorists to attack our Prime Minister? A place that was only, say, 5 to 7 kilometers away from Pakistan. And a wishy-washy press conference by Smriti Irani showing anger. We don't want anger now. It shows we are weak. Instead, we need action. We need people arrested. The HMO has to act and show us that the government is strong. No Prime Minister can be, left in such a vulnerable position. What was the first thing that they needed to do? Immediately reverse and take the Prime Minister back to safety. 20 minutes on a bridge. It's not safe. Anything could have happened at that minute. So this sort of thing has upset everybody, the public. This cannot happen to any Prime Minister in any country. And the way they have reacted, if you look at the Congress and their spokespeople, they are shameless. They have turned out to be worse Deshrohis than even China and Pakistan. It's our duty, every person in India, to protect the Prime Minister. He is the one who's standing between us and our enemies. Look at the way Rahul Gandhi is holidaying in some country. Every time he goes outside the country, something like this happens in India. You can see the connection very clearly. Terrible, terrible. Deepti, back to you.
Yes, Minaji. I mean, one other way which is encouraging, we all know by now that Congress is a party which has always put its interests ahead of the nation's interests. Okay. So, I mean, but what is, making them stronger in such tactics? Okay, earlier if we look at Bengal violence as well and everything, why are they getting so emboldened to continue with their gimmicks? And I mean, not only repeat it, but get more and more bolder with every successive gimmick that they are up to create, it's as if the states are separate, the country is separate. Now what is happening? Now the atmosphere in the country is like the states are totally, I mean, they are not part of the country. They have their own governance. They are not paying heed to the central government, and the central government is helpless. So this kind of atmosphere is actually, creating a lot of unrest among the citizens of the country. So this is something which I believe that at least this time the central government takes strict action against what happened today against the security breach, so that such incidents are not, no one ever dares to even think of attempting anything
Deepti,
like this.
And they have the guts to tweet, how is the Josh to the Prime Minister? Can you imagine? This is the kind of opposition we have, who are worse than the biggest enemies that any country can face. What sort of people are they? They don't have any spine, If they cannot rule, or if these states have a problem, give it to the president's rule. We don't need them. Our country doesn't need them. In fact, Punjab should be under president's rule. Maharashtra should be under president's rule. Kerala should be under president's rule. West Bengal should be under president's rule. Even Tamil Nadu should be under president's rule. Enough of this nonsense. Whatever we try to, the kind of progress that Modi ji has been making and the way they have been pulling us back, itself shows, they are Deshrohis. We don't need them. If they want to holiday in Italy, let them be there forever.
Unfortunately, Minaji, the present politicians, almost 95% or 98% of them, all are only in their positions only to enjoy power and money using their position of influence. They are not interested in the welfare of the nation or the development of the country or anything of that sort. Unfortunately, we are being, I mean, such are the people who are sitting on top of us, be it in the opposition or, and we have many enemies within the camp as well, within the
Yes.
party as well. Okay, because one single person cannot, what do you say, cannot do everything. Okay, he needs to have the support of people around as well. So it's time that some strong actions are taken against the perpetrators of such, what an example has it set for uh, the outside world. What image of the country do we have, that anyone can block the prime minister's rally and demand certain make certain demands from him? I mean, what sort of an image does whatever happened today on in Punjab has it set for the country?
See, and
It's a
especially
matter of
after
shame.
the helicopter, that killed, Mr. Rawat. How are they not prepared? And then every time they come out with a press conference, showing their anger and asking people to apologize. This is not the action that we want. We want our country to be iron-handed. We know who are the people who are perpetrating this kind of thing. They have to be rounded up and questioned. Even if it has to be Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, they have to be pulled up and they have to be questioned. Nobody is
Exactly,
an
Minaji.
untouchable.
Exactly, Minaji. Just giving statements in the media or,
And
like
showing their
what
anger.
Smriti
See,
Irani,
this all
showing
doesn't
their
work.
anger, it is not going to
Anger is
work
just a
out.
weakness. Take action.
And then we have the media to make a circus of all the statements that they give in anger
Absolutely.
or whatever. So ultimately, nothing concrete is happening
Concrete is
to
happening.
tackle such elements. That's why they are getting courageous day by day with their antics.
Yes.
So
See, the
it's
only
up to
thing we
us.
can
I mean,
say,
if we
the
are
only
not
thing we
able to
can
protect
say,
ourselves,
yeah, is that God
yeah,
has protected our prime minister. That is the only thing we can say. That is the only thing. With so many enemies around. Yeah, back to you.
so Minaji, shall I start with
Yes,
the
please. Please.
reading? Yeah. Okay. All right. Phew, what a confusion. Before we start the chapter of Byju's, I have a few questions here for all of us so that we will roughly have a fair idea about what are we going to talk and what are the connections and the possible effects that could happen due to Byju's and some flaws the app has potentially caused to a lot of people, and most of them are unaware about it. But before we start, we have people amongst us, around us, or maybe someone, us, ourselves, might have gone through this process where spamming, phishing, online attack, whatever you call it, has happened on your account. And you learn it is because of apps like TeamViewer you might have installed on your system or phone. Though most of the times this happens on phone through various other softwares like some apps. I will come to this later because this is one very important aspect of the chapter and we all need to understand and know some hidden truths here before we get talking about the chapter and understand a lot of facts that have been kept hidden from us all these years. Not just did Byju's play a very important role in the money side of it, but it also did play a major role in some other dirty games that were played as well. Here, I would like to make one thing clear. The way the app was created matches to some other apps that have proven track of being harmful to your information or your device. The one thing which each one of us should understand here is that data is what counts and plays a very important role to gauge most of the happenings that keep happening around us, and it's on us how we want to take it. But some people who have learned this process and have some idea around what the real story is, they would actually want to come out with it, but couldn't, just because there was a lot to put on stake here. Basically, because they did not have any kind of support or they were not in a position to understand how would they perceive on this path when they had huge responsibilities to take care of? And it is predominant in the body language. Many feel that Byju's has been that X factor, and apps like this have been a boon in disguise to most of them. In fact, if I would put it in this way, and if I am making a little sense here, then the point I would like to stress the fact upon is that business grew and the profits were made, but education fell down to the least level. Back in time, hardly say 10 to 15 years ago, some teachers used to promote their private coaching classes. And and these coaching classes in themselves had their own story to tell, as there are a lot of instances wherein you could now maybe close your eyes, go back and think, and maybe would now realize that the subjects and the problems that were taught in the coaching classes actually have been the questions that were printed on the question paper that was lying in front of you in the exam hall. If you go back now and think and try to understand it with this angle that I just revealed out, now you will realize that yes, I might be talking some sense. And if you have not attended coaching classes, then all that you need to do is ask that friend of yours who had, and you will find out for sure that we actually were not given education, but we were trained as machines and let loose in this society to go fetch for ourselves. If you just have a quick survey done around your town, you will find out that there are distinction holders who are jobless. And if you take a deeper look at it, you will find that it is a skill issue that is keeping them away from getting a job. Though there are some rare cases where the story is otherwise, but if you see it from a general angle, then this is pretty much what is the fact behind the matter. Because we have ended up making ourselves slaves to what is being taught, just by heart, the shit, and go and dump it on your answer sheet. I am sorry for my language, but all this is one of the prime factors that the makers of the app worked on. And to ensure to use this as their USP, they made beautiful marketing strategies too. Now let's start with the simplest of the strategies that was implemented: advertisements and the way the ads came up. Top most popular gaming apps were chosen, and the installation of Byju's was made as a checkpoint to get a very good perk in the game. And this is how the gamers who were so addicted to playing the game got the app downloaded and just had the app on the phone just to ensure that the perk keeps growing in the game. Now, here one more question would come into your mind, that what is so big a deal in this? Just by installing the app, how can this be a marketing strategy in itself? Let me explain some apps that we download on our phone, ask us certain questions in order to get installed successfully. The questions can be like: allow app to send and receive notifications on this device, allow app to access phone calls and send messages, allow app to use network and mobile data and perform functions in the background, allow app to access to the location of your device so that more personalized recommendations can be sent, allow app to access to photos and videos on your phone, allow app to access your phone files, etc., 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 etc. You might have some more points to add over here. I made sure that I have added most of them that I know, and made sure that I have used my best of the knowledge to pen these points down. Now, here in these questions lie the game. Most of us are not aware of this, but there is one industry that runs on this, and this industry is the industry of telemarketing, or what we can call as marketing industry. What happens here is most of the surveys or the questions you answer online leave their copies on the servers of these companies. And when you have the app installed on your phone, your app would be sending regular data on what your choices are. Maybe this would help to gauge the kind of lifestyle you choose to live. What these companies do is they segregate the data according to how it would best suit them. And then from there, they would sell it out to these telemarketing and credit card companies. How on earth do you think that you get these calls out of the blue from these telemarketers, and sometimes coincidentally, the call that you have received and the topic that you were browsing on that day actually matches? And the call might look as if it was tailor made. Now, if you go back and analyze this must have happened to most of us multiple number of times. And now when we have this told to us by someone else, we instantly connect to this and realize that we were nothing but fools. And we ourselves made sure we gave them the stick and our back too. And now we are crying that we are being exploited. Now, if you still want to stay quiet, I do not have any idea how would I go ahead and proceed with this fact to make you people understand. But yes, this doesn't mean I would give up. The fact which each and every one of us should understand is that we are not doing a favor on anyone, but we are doing a favor on ourselves. There is no one who is doing anything for anyone or anybody. Each man has to do it for himself. And this is the universal truth. No one can deny. No one can deny this. And if someone would want to go ahead and explain this fact, you people, then I would say it is the biggest wrong number that would have a very bad impact on your life. You, within brackets, using the dialogue from the movie PK. One thing that we all need to understand here is that we have to be even the more careful when we use online platforms. And there are many ways one can ensure their safety. Anyways, we are not in a technology class for me to go ahead and explain this to here, as the World Wide Web is indeed wide, and anyone who wants to pick up any information from this is welcome to. Because in the end, when we have it all made notes on, we will realize that we are the ones to be blamed. Anyways, there is not many changes one can make, because when we get a little deeper into all this, is when we realize, oh, this could be the angle that we were missing. And sometimes it's the silliest of the ones that play the biggest of the impact. And the reason the impact turns out to be big is because in our mind, we would never have expected any strike to happen from this side. And the biggest thing that one should also understand here is that when such a huge challenge would stand staring in front of you at that moment, the first thought that would come to your mind, or the first reflex action that would come from inside involuntarily, is what saves you. And in order to have such a response come to you by default, you need to have these following developed in you. Stick to it, perfect it, depend on yourself, execute it. Yet again, here I would like to make some points very, very clear here. There are some people who make wonderful teams together. I have nothing to speak against them. But here, what is the matter of fact is that we all have to agree that it's because of the Jaichans around them, each of the greats have fallen. And this is a fact I at least agree to. Byju's came into full boom when the initial phase of demonetization was going around. And if you have noted it carefully, of the companies that have a great record of layoffs, Byju's can give a tough fight to the ones that would actually top the list. You can do your own research and you will realize that what I am telling is a fact. And the worst impact that apps like Byju's have created is that the teachers have lost their patience today. We see that in schools, the teacher is just rushing through the subject. Neither is the teacher interested in teaching it out in a better or different way. And poor students, they by default have gotten stuck to follow what is being taught without asking any questions. And if questions are asked, the way they get responses makes them a laughing stock in front of the whole class. And they would not have similar courage to ask any question again in the future. Now, when we speak about this, the other important aspect that comes in the picture here is that how did this game come into the picture in the first place? Let's all rewind our times and let's learn around some things which needs to be told upfront. before we get into this chapter. And also, this becomes very important because this chapter here has a lot of confusions, and unless one understands it properly and makes an honest effort to look into things, it is not possible for anyone to guess how deep this threat is and how much damage can it make to us if we do not take some steps seriously. There are many reasons for this statement of mine, but the prime reason for this is the other game that comes into the picture here. How one app can potentially boom the electronics market. And also remember, Byju's has been in the tie up with some schools too. Not just Byju's, if you study the franchise schools closely, you can say that these schools also play a very important role when it comes to connected businesses that would run parallelly because of this business. And also, you might think I am stupid when I am speaking this. But if you sit back, think, and give it another serious thought, you will for yourself agree that whatever I am telling would make it complete sense. And it is up to us how we take it or how we pursue it. For me, when I did my homework and spoke to some students and parents on this subject, I concluded on some things, but this doesn't necessarily mean that I have nailed it to perfection. Whatever I have derived, I will make a note of it. You are free to draw your own conclusions. Basically, it is very important that one understands what he is doing and, more importantly, knows what is happening around him. If this happens, then there is no way anyone can raise any question mark on you because you would by default have that answer ready with you where you can make sure that you have all the pointers written down or memorized, and you can actually make sure that you have enough resource material to educate the person who is asking you this question. It is very important that we all remember that it is not that easy to answer someone's question, and you should consider yourself on a very responsible pedestal when someone asks you any kind of a question because they have found you worthy to have depth added to their knowledge. Of course, it depends on who is asking the question. You need to understand that sometimes the answer to the toughest question lies in the problem itself. And it is very important that we never forget our question when we get the answer, because this, in another way, can be another illusion that is being casted on you. Because sometimes the answer to any question that you are facing in life, or any riddle or clue you are solving on paper, do not consider that you know the answer once you get it in the first go itself, because it is very important, and the fact that sometimes we need to understand the answer we have might just be the answer to a part of the question, and the real answer still remains to be explored. Let's have a small demo exercise. Imagine you are in a situation wherein you have only 2000 rupees left in your pocket, and you have ordered food and are done with your share of eating, and you find out that the hotel owner doesn't have change. You are in a totally new land where you know no one, and you are now in a fix wherein the owner is asking for his bill and you do not have change on you. Neither does the person who is on the cash. What would you do? This was one classic answer given by one of the students. Though it was out of the way, I still felt that this answer actually teaches us how important it is to understand the whole scenario before you try finding out the answer. The kid whom I was talking about in the beginning of this paragraph calmly asked me, is the man carrying a phone? And does he use Google Pay or Paytm? And what do you mean by 2000 is the only cash in hand? I was spellbound, but wanted to see how deep can this go. So asked the boy what made him come up with this question. The boy started, see, you said that you have only 2000 left in your pocket. At home, I always hear my mom shout out to my dad, do not carry too much cash. You have Paytm and Google Pay to make the payment, or you can use PhonePe too. And moreover, when you said that he is in a new city, the possibilities are more that he will by default carry not much cash because it can lead to dirty situations for you if you get into a fix. Though I know that this demo might be a little out of the context, But if you understand the reason why I have mentioned here, you will understand that how important it is for one to understand everything properly before you make any decision or come to any conclusions. We need to start learning to say no to our mind and make sure that we teach some harsh lessons to our mind and make sure that you never make your mind feel comfortable when you want to learn something. This becomes even the more important. You need to constantly keep asking questions to yourself. If possible, talk to your conscience and spend some time within yourself. In the race of life, rushing through your schedules and timetables, taking care of all your responsibilities after ensuring that you have made sure that you have finished all the tasks you have allotted yourself with, you just are so tired that you crash off or maybe get into one activity or the other. But here, have you ever understood that you have missed the most important person in your life? Now, if you ask me who this person is, I would say, go stand in front of the mirror, and the person whom you see standing in front of you at the moment is the person you need to be searching for, is the person whom you are answerable to, is the person who deserves some attention to. And it's because we do not have time for this person, we end up taking the wrong decisions. Now, you might feel or want to ask me that the subject on hand is Byju's. And why are we discussing all this? I would say that with all due respect to you and your thought process, sometimes it is very much needed that we take that extra mile where we need to ensure that we have taken that extra breath to ensure we have had our preparations, had those practice sessions where we discuss amongst ourselves what we should be doing and have our plan ready. The only way we can get through this is if we have a proper plan, if we have prepared well for it. Are we ready for it? Who are our backups? How much is this dependent only on me? How much needs to be told? How much needs to be hidden? Do these hidden points need explanation when the time comes for it to be expressed? How much explanation is needed? The responsibilities that needs to be taken care of. The number of people who would be needed. Can you do this alone? How dependent are you on others? What if you fail? Are you prepared to start afresh? What is the right time to prepare for you to start fresh? Whom to consider, whom not to consider. Reasons for the above questions. When to start, why to start, how to start, what to start. The journey after the start. Who takes care of the workload? Who would be taking the center stage? Who would be coming out in the open? Who would be at the backstage? Teamwork. Who would ensure to keep a check on the time frames? What are the time frames that need to be set? What is the path that we need to choose? How well can we balance the load of pressure and social war of words? How much do we speak? When do we speak? And how important is it that do we understand how to maintain silence and ignore some questions? Do I have all the answers myself to have the idea which question to pick and which to drop off? These are the questions I feel, to the best of my knowledge, should give you a fair idea where you stand and how much preparations you would need to actually execute something. And I would now have one appeal to make before I start this chapter to explain the other business angles attached to this Byju's. Your child is playing a game on your phone. Or let me put it this way, your child is spending too much time in front of the screen. Won't you react saying that it is bad for your eyes? Within brackets, question to parents and teachers and the elders in the society. Your child is in front of the same screen studying classes through Byju's app. Is this not harmful to the eyes of the kid? I agree and understand that me giving such a statement would be too stupid or harsh or thoughtless or whatsoever you want to conclude around it. But the reason I am telling this is because what I am going to explain now will make all of us realize that yes, we all were again made fools out of, and we did nothing but fill some rich man's purse. Once again, let me make it very clear that I have nothing against anyone, but when it comes to children, it's not right that we wait or we are that careless that we are not able to analyze and make one promise to ourselves that we are not the ones who are going to let go of our younger generation. Because our younger generation plays a major role in the future of our country, we need to realize that life is not easy, and the younger generation is the future of this nation. Not just this nation, the younger generation is the future of every nation. And it becomes very important that we all make this effort and make sure that we are extra careful when it comes to the little innocent minds who have no idea about what is happening. It is us who can make our kids or break them. If we go back in time and actually try and make some connections around this, we will realize that no matter that kids of the present generation are more forward technically and the mindset of the children have changed big time. But you will realize that back then, when there was no proper schooling system too, we were forced to realize that we are much backward when we consider the type of knowledge that is being imparted. Yes, there was an effort put to connect this type of education through abacus and Vedic mathematics. But the only question that I have here in this context is that has this method clicked? When we try and analyze the answer to this question, we will get to know that this method has not clicked. Let me make it very clear here that I am neither promoting abacus nor am I promoting Vedic mathematics. All that I am doing is I am trying to make all of us realize that all that kid needs after his schooling is you. And it's you as a parent or any relation that you would share with any kid at your home or in your surrounding. It's obvious that sometimes our neighbors' kids become kids of our family. If you really want to do something for your kid, then the first thing you need to do is to understand the atmosphere around him or her. You need to ensure that you are well connected to him and you make him realize he is the one that makes the difference in his life. And it's his decisions that make him a man. Yes, this should happen gradually, but the 4 points which every kid needs to be taught is 1. Use your mind. 2. Apply what you have learned today around you. 3. Make sure that you ask questions. 4. Don't be scared to express, do not impress. If we teach this to our kids, then we can make sure that our kids are self-made and they then will be able to script their own future. This is what education system today has to achieve. But then what is happening today? If we have a close look at it, we are making sure that our children have become slaves to technology. Try making the comparison on these factors: respect, adaptability, love, concern, happiness. Is he or she open? Does he or she share things with you? Does he or she interact with elders or family members? Behavior, manners, responses, activity, time management, dependency, adjustment, understanding. Try to make a judgment on the current generation keeping these factors in mind. What do you conclude? Where are we heading? Are we so dumb not to realize that on the name of modernization, we are one of the main reasons to put inferiority complexes in the minds of our kids? And we are the only ones who are responsible for this. And it's we need to get back to our roots. And if you find it difficult to know from where to start from, close your eyes and think of the time you spent with your grandparents and then try and utilize it. If you did not have grandparents when you were born, take tips from parents or elders. All this is happening because we sometimes do one mistake. And this is what we, without getting our conscience altered, we try to push on to our kids what we couldn't achieve as kids. All these app-based study materials that have made their way into the market is the biggest marketing strategy that the business minds have applied, and they have become fairly successful. I have started with Byju's, But Byju's is not the only company that is successful in this. There are a lot others to join into this. Now some prominent names that need to make its way out here is I will explain the connections and the context later. 1. Reliance Education for All. 2. Shah Rukh Khan. 3. Juhi Chawla. 4. Neswadia. 5. Ekta Kapoor. 6. Amity University. 7. Some universities in Punjab. 8. Mata Amruta Nandamai schools. 9. Missionary schools. I'm not talking out in the blind. I'm talking based on facts and evidences. But this story is deep and dirty. It needs to be put out in the right way. Else, I can be one of the biggest regions of the chaos that is going to happen in the society. Some names here are not verified, so I shall leave as follows: X1, X2, X3, X4, X5. The X3 is a female. I have kept the names a secret is just because that we just have some information on these names and we are yet to get to the root of the matter. And then we can actually conclude even I had heard these names taken confidentially, then I would still go ahead and make mention of these names. But the names were taken very softly, and hence we need to ensure that we have all the facts in place before we go ahead and take these names. But yes, the corruption and the rotation of money and generation of income has grown 5 times since formation, and if my calculations are not wrong, then it has doubled up since the start of 2020. This gets me to another very interesting angle, which one of the people who spoke to me finds a strong connect to the issue we are discussing on hand is 5G. Now, some might feel I am stupid and I am talking like this, maybe drunk or high, but this is not the fact. The fact is that there are some stories and narrations that these education mafia do not want them to come out, because the one thing that always happens is that when someone wants to raise his voice, he is often left alone and there is no one to support him. And these cunning jackals, they have enough support and backup. We have to make sure that we all take fast cognizance of what is happening around us, else it will be too late even to utter a word. The fast changing times have ensured that we need to change our thinking too, else we would be left far behind. Before we discuss further, ask yourself these questions. Are we really progressing? Are we having a better perspective today to what we want for ourselves? Are we satisfied with what we have? Have we evolved actually for our better? Do people's words make a difference to us? Is there something called status quo? Is there a compromise for values? Are we better than what we were yesterday? Do we have time for our family? Are we happy with the surroundings around us? Are we really being ourselves or wearing a mask as per the situation? Ask yourself these questions and you find your own answer. Every word that I am going to speak from now on revolves around this. Shah Rukh Khan has played the most important role in the formation of Byju's. Byju's would never have been a reality if Shah Rukh Khan was not in the picture. The situation that is in front of us and that is being shown to us might be two extremes, but the truth to this lies in this fact. We all have to realize that we are the ones who are the fools in the lot, and it's us who have been made the biggest fool of till date. And the irony is we continue to keep falling for it. The things that Shah Rukh did around this time and all his activities too, if you have a close look on it and try to study it out, and if you are having that some extra time left to do some small research around these things. You will find out that there have been instances wherein this was quite clearly visible to us and we couldn't make head or tail out of it. The points are as follows. 1. Shah Rukh has not charged a single rupee till date to appear in Byju's commercials. 2. Shah Rukh Khan has been very instrumental in spreading word about investments related to Byju's everywhere. 3. Shah Rukh Khan has tie up with some top names and has used this well. The connections have gone till Dubai and there is enough evidence for this. 4. Shah Rukh Khan with Juhi Chawla have made sure that the trend that sets shall revolve around this, and Juhi ji has been very instrumental and a strong support for this cause. The striking point that we all need to understand and digest here is that these things were a strong plan made to get to a solution with the black money that was piling up. And the sources that I have met and spoken to say that this has been the trend, and there were instances wherein top income tax officers were bribed too. All the money that went into this as investment, the initial setup was planned so beautifully that the tax sirens never rang. A lot of mouths were silenced, and the names included in the list, which I will come to it in the next slide, will share all the related stories that I have around this. And then let's keep it out for the public to know the truth themselves. This scam, or rather, I would say, the strategy is a biggest curse on mankind. And now I shall make sure that I expose it to the public. And once this is done, I will make sure that the public will get to know the whole truth of the incident and then leave it up to the public to decide what do they want to do out of this. Because the only thing which we all need to remember here is that it is all man for himself. And it's up to us if we want to see a change in the society. Till we do it as it's something without which we cannot breathe, then there is no way any improvement will ever happen in the society. From one side, the IPL was going full guns, and on the other side, there was being human, and we all have learned from the past revelations that I have made how well is the medical and insurance mafia connected to these people. The only field that was left was education. I would be foolish to say that they did not have their hold on the education system, but whatever was the case, things had come to a standstill when the demonetization struck. And not just this, there has been a lot of ups and downs in the recent years when profits are concerned. So it was very important for a parallel money generator, and that led to the formation of Byju's. Now, I would not call this as a wrong step if the way it was introduced was right and it solved the right intentions. But here, the case was totally different, as the bottom line in all this, such measures were alternate steps in making quick money. The chapter that is to follow has so many names in it that everyone is in for a sure shock. And also, through this chapter, we are going to spread a lot of light on the control of electronic media, the way these apps aid in cybercrime, the way some of these apps have hidden features in them which pose a huge risk to your privacy and security, the control over education and medicine these people want to establish, the people who are making this as an easy tool for money rotation, how this helps in election funding, the anti-national angle involved, the other angles involved wherein the money generated here becomes a threat to the nation, the involvement of China, the connection to some scams that have happened around the launch, and finally the adverse effects it has on the society. All these points will be discussed, so hold on to your seats and get ready for the truth, which can be dirty or strange. But yes, this is the fact, and there is no denial to it that these activities have played a major impact on the society and continues to do so. And it is up to us what we would want to do about this. Because the bottom line is, it is because we have learned to adjust to things we have become like this. If not, there are ways to actually take a tough stand and to make loud noise about all these issues. It's up to us how we take things forward from here. From this moment, if we think we have time and we can actually find a solution to this with time, then we are actually fooling only ourselves, because the roots are deep and are fast growing. and it is up to us to make sure how we can actually put a full stop to it. Getting back to the subject on hand, the biggest challenge that the society today faces are the growing challenges on the technical front. And if you need to have a close look on it, then the option you need to choose is electronic media. And most of us, for a fact, know that it is not easy to keep a check on people and the activities they are up to. Because most of the times, if you keep an eye or spy on anyone without proper permission, or unless you are from the agencies, and the best way to do this is get into the system with an excuse. And this excuse here are apps. And what better option could it be than something which looks so beautiful and looks so attracting when the educational parameters are taken into consideration? And this was one of the main reasons Byju's was created. If you want to doubt me, fine, I completely understand. But do your own homework, meet people who have worked on these apps or are from this field, and ask them some questions. And you, for yourselves, can do a small check too. You will realize the facts around this. The first thing that you need to understand when you want to understand what the connection here is the permissions any app asks when you download and try to install it on your phone. Apps that ask you permission to access to your photos and your data on the device or the system that you are installing. Such kind of apps that ask such permission are always dangerous and have serious adverse connections to it. We all have heard of Alexa and may have used it too. But the one thing we need to know is that Alexa is always listening to you. And if someone wants to get to know what you are doing or have his ears on you, then Alexa can be a good option for the person to use. I'm just giving an example here to make you understand what I want to say. But then, yes, you need to also take this into consideration that it is in our hands how we take care of our safety and we ensure that we are away from traps like this. The one thing we all should remember is that anything that is connected to something else can be a big threat to your security and your personal information. Instead of say that it can be a big threat to your security and your personal information, we can say that anything that needs connection from elsewhere to start can always be a huge threat to the security of your personal information. You can be taken for a ride and you can be monitored too. These kind of apps are exactly used for these kind of functions, and there is a lot more to it. Minaji, I will stop it here because
Yeah.
I have
Yes.
almost I have almost covered all that I have downloaded so far, decoded so far. So the work is going on slow
Definitely.
because as I have been telling you, the
Yeah.
lockdown 2 years we had time on hand. I
Yeah.
mean, but now we have to attend to our survival work as well. So
Yes.
the decoding and downloading work is going on very slow. And as I told you, a lot of things happened, and some of my team members got compromised, and some are pressurized. So there are other pressures as well.
Yeah.
So the work is going on slow. There is a lot more material that Sushant wanted to share with the public. I will definitely share with everyone and on your channel as well,
Yeah.
but it will take some more time. And one question that people have been asking is that in which of the episodes have I mentioned those drives wherein Sushant has clearly stated the names of the people who will be responsible for his death and who manhandled him. That is in session 9,
Yeah.
episode 9,
Yes.
SR Diary 9. Okay. So if they want, they can watch that episode. And those slides are a very important part of evidence for in Sushant's investigation, in investigation for the reasons of his death. I seriously, I'm not able to understand why the agencies are ignoring it. I don't know what is the intent. Unfortunately, they have been disappointing since ages in
Yeah.
all the cases, in Jia Khan's case as well. And it seems the Sushant's case is also going the same way. But it's up to us if we are going to take it, lying down again, or if we are saying enough is enough.
Also, in Jia's case, Rabia ji said there's some more, news that's come to us. So she will let us know the moment she, would like to make it public. So I think in the coming days, she'll let us know as well.
I don't understand this. I mean, what are the systems of the countries doing? Everywhere, so, I mean, there's chaos everywhere. I mean, we are hearing news, there are many sensational news every day. Okay, everyone is blaming each other. But where are the actions that are needed
Yeah.
to keep these things in check? And just not only about what is happening, what has happened with our Modi ji today, but even in other spheres as well. See, this thing, this what do you say? This silsila of mysterious deaths has been happening since 90s.
Yeah.
Divya Bharati, maybe even before that, Lal
Yeah.
Bahadur
Kunal.
Shastri. Yeah, I mean, come on, we cannot be that weak as a country. We cannot be that tolerant to all this crap that is happening. See, this is the reason why the frequency is increasing now. And now people are openly and arrogantly doing crimes.
Yeah.
People with power and influence.
Yeah.
And if the situation has come to this, it's because we have been silent for so long.
Yeah.
It's up to us now. We cannot look at someone and say, oh, it's your job. Because the people whose job it is, they're not doing their job properly.
Yeah.
So it's up to us. We have to take a tough stand now.
Yeah, Deepti, the fact is that, see, each and everything is linked to the other thing. For example, what happened to PM Modi today, okay? Those same people are involved in other crimes as well, okay? I was recently speaking about a dating app. In that also, these people are involved. These politicians, these very politicians we're talking about. Bollywood, southern stars are all involved in this dating app, which fools people, youngsters. So you're talking about apps, you're talking about Byju app now, okay, and you're talking about all the links. See, you're looking about you look at the kind of gifts that this Jacqueline was getting.
Meenaji, I've been through this because I was I was handling Srideviji's case. I was fighting Srideviji's case. Okay, I was also being monitored.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean my location. If I ordered any food from Swiggy, if I was traveling and I ordered from Swiggy and all, immediately they came to know about where I was. Though I used to take enough care to go untracked and unnoticed, just one mistake online and they would find out. So, I mean, whatever he has written, I mean, we should all know because all of us uses smartphone nowadays. Okay, nowadays we cannot function without having any knowledge of computer but we need to be aware of how much we are allowing these apps to control us or monitor us or give our data to some other people to be played with for their personal gains.
Yeah.
So we have to have basic knowledge about it. So what I would say to the viewers is that at least the things that we are handling, that we are having to access and all, we should have basic knowledge about it. It's not that difficult. The internet is full of knowledge. You just have to spend some time, get yourself upgraded and updated. I mean, it's you who has to strengthen yourself from within. Because now we were all dependent on the system to guide us, to take us forward to the path of prosperity, to maintain law and order and all. But the systems have failed us. So now we have no one to look up to other than us. We have to fortify ourselves. And let me tell you, it's not money or it's not power or influence, it's the knowledge which will make you strong. And knowledge is not costly.
Yeah. See, also, what you spoke about just now, see, the link between SRK and Juhi Chawla and Jay Mehta with people in ISI, okay, and their connections in Dubai. These are all very suspect. Don't think it is a friendship. This, what do they call it? Red chili, red pepper, whatever their company is. It is not just a company based on their friendship. This is much more than that.
And KKR
all these
also,
shell
right?
companies,
Kolkata Knight Riders in IPL.
And all these Panama Papers involve all of them. See, we pay our taxes on time. We are hassled for that. Even 5 rupees late, we are hassled for that. And these
Exactly.
people have these so many shell
Exactly.
companies, terrible. Thank you so much, Deepti, for taking the trouble to come and tell us everything and explain also. And
Uh,
our viewers are grateful to you. So we'll wait for
was I
another
clear?
session. Yeah.
Was I clear in the reading? In reading, or was
Pardon?
there any confusion, Minaji? Was I
No, no,
clear?
not
Was there
absolutely
clear?
no, no. No, nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Only
Minaji,
thing
you
is
can.
now, only thing is
Uh-huh.
now people are taking on from you and saying that your diaries are authentic. After we've done all this, certain people are
Minaji,
saying
see,
that.
see now, no one can say that they are not authentic because CBI's reluctance to validate them in the first place, even after
Yeah,
giving acknowledgement,
yeah.
itself should speak a lot of things. It's reluctant because in one of the drives he has mentioned that he received threat from the likes of Aditya Thackeray for
Yeah.
proceeding with the investigation of Divya Bhati's death and Bala Saheb's role in hushing that up.
And
And
also
in
here,
and
see, while you're talking about this, Deepti, see, in a government like Maharashtra, where the CM is incapacitated, you know, now the son is ruling by proxy, and nobody has a problem. Isn't this something the center should be asking? Isn't this something that the governor should be saying that, see, this can't do? We need some proper administrator, a leader.
that is what I mean. What is happening in the country? Anyone can do what they want to.
And, a reputation of the son, does it suit him to be a leader?
And one more thing, Minaji, one thing we are not understanding is that this is the very reason everyone wanted or demanded or requested the case to be transferred to the CBI.
Yeah.
But strangely, CBI too, I don't understand this. What sort of, how can we be such weak nation that we cannot protect our citizens? I mean,
Yeah.
forget common citizens, you cannot even protect celebrities.
Yeah.
You cannot even provide them justice. I mean, I don't understand this. How come we have been reduced to such a weak nation that we are seeing that all that is going around is wrong? I mean, the common citizen, ordinary citizens are helpless. And the people in power, the agencies, the judiciary, they are also being mute spectators or willful. I mean, they are participating in, some of them are
And
participating
you
in this.
saw, see, you also saw the marathon where the children were asked to run, you know, and in this COVID season, and where the children fell into some sort of a pit. I mean, what was Congress
That is
doing?
what
They
we,
had arranged it.
Minaji, we do not have statesmen now. We only have politicians. Okay, and their sole priority is votes and power for themselves. Otherwise, if there had been a single person who had thought about the country before anything, before the party's interests or politics, then elections would not have taken place now, or elections rallies would have been banned. Someone should have, either the, election commission should have done that, or the court should have put an end to it, or it should have come from the president itself, the order. But strangely, no one is doing anything. They are
See,
allowing
even,
rallies where lakhs and
yeah,
lakhs and lakhs of people are, gathering together, and that too when Omicron, there is a threat of Omicron all over the world. I don't understand this.
see, and also, see, when an incident of such gravity, the prime minister being targeted today, if it just ends up in a press conference, by a minister who tries to show some anger, that is not the, action we want as public. We want an iron hand. What would Vladimir Putin do? We need action like that. We can't just have, people saying that we are angry, we need an apology. We don't need an apology. We know they are crooks. Crooks don't apologize. And crooks don't care. Now they've done this, they'll do a bigger thing tomorrow. They need to be punished.
Exactly, Minaji. I mean, if they go unpunished and all that we end up seeing is some, bobs exchanged on the media, some blame games being played, then this thing will only get worse.
Yeah.
Going forward, even some more audacious gimmick will be tried, which will put the security of both the PM and or many more. in danger.
See, especially after the helicopter crash. I mean, we should be on such a high alert, and we are not. We are still not on. Don't expect sympathy. Don't expect anything from the opposition or from people who are crooks, who are our enemies. What we have to do with the iron hand, like Krishna said to Arjuna, you have to do what you have to do. Don't look whether he's your mama or your aunt or your uncle. You have to do what you have to do.
Therefore, if we can see, it's not that we are weak or something. Modi ji, when he had the guts to give back to Pakistan after the Pulwama attack, the way he did, okay, what is stopping him from taking the same action against the enemies who are within the country? They are more dangerous than the enemies out across the border.
Yes.
What is being done to tackle them? They need to be tackled first.
Yeah. And we keep saying that, see, it is hatred for Modi. It is not hatred for Modi. The fact is that he's our prime minister. Whether you agree with him or not, it is your duty to protect him. Even if you're a villager and you know that Modi is on the road, you need to protect him. That's how the country should be. And any person who says no should be behind bars.
But the thing is, this is not something which happened on the moment. It needs deeper investigation, and the culprits should be brought to the book. Yes, because the route no one knows. Yeah. The route which the convoy takes, no one knows beforehand. And if people were there beforehand, they were all ready and prepared to block it, then that means such a sensitive information has been leaked. That means there has been severe breach of national security.
Yeah.
So this is something which warrants investigation, as does General Bipin sir's helicopter crash as well.
Yeah.
Because ultimately investigations happen. Even Pulwama also. The last we are hearing nowadays is that the last of the Pulwama attacker got gunned down. But what actually happened? How did it happen? How did so much RTX come into there? No one is given answers. Yeah. If this now what happened today with our Prime Minister Modi ji, this is because all such incidents have been overlooked so far.
Yes. Absolutely.
So, Meenakshi, I will take your leave now today.
It's been a very good talk, and thank you. And let us know whenever we have your next session.
Sure, it will take a couple of weeks before I get the material enough ready for a session. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good night.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.